Hello Siddhis, welcome to the English online class. Today I am going to take a short poem from the textbook Hornbill prescribed for CBSE plus 1 students. A photograph written by the famous English poet Shirley Towson. About the poet. Shirley Towson was born on 24th May 1924 in England. She was a writer and editor who came under the influence of Celtic Christianity. The poem Photograph is an autobiographical account of the poet. The poem is a very short poem, comprises only 3 stanzas. The language used is very simple. Even though the language used is very simple, it underpins a great philosophy. See, the simplicity of language contrasts with the enormity of the thought expressed here. Now, first of all, I would like to ask you something. See, do you love taking photographs? We all love taking photographs. Why? Because photograph is a memory of our life events. It can store memory and can activate memory recall. It creates an emotion in the viewer that connects them to the photograph. For example, if you happen to see an old photograph of yours that had taken years back when you were studying in your KG classes or your first or second standard, or a photograph that was taken during your annual day or a day when you were going for an excursion with your friends, such a way, how do you feel now you had seen such a photograph? You will be feeling excited on seeing the photograph, and what will be your first reaction on seeing such a photograph? See how beautiful I was, how cute I was, how beautifully I have smiled. See my face, a sweet face. Such a way, so many things you will be telling. Why this happen? Why? Because our days captured in still images have the power to recall tears and smiles of the past. And Shirley Towson's A Photograph is a perfect example for this statement. The poem is an autobiographical account of the poet's emotions and feelings on seeing the old photograph of her mother when she went for a sea holiday along with her 2 girl cousins. The poem is divided into 3 stages. It describes 3 stages of life in the passage of time. Now, let's go to the poem. See the first stanza. The first stanza describes the first stage of life. The cardboard shows me how it was when the 2 girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. Here, the cardboard shows me how it was. Here, the cardboard refers to a thick and stiff paper that keeps the photograph intact. So, the cardboard frame that shows to the poet how it was. Now, the poet was seeing an old photograph of her poet's mother. And what did he see in the photograph? When the 2 girl cousins went paddling. Here, paddling refers to bathing in shallow water in sea. So, the 2 girl cousins, along with their mother, went for a sea holiday, each one holding one of my mother's hands. So, the 2 girl cousins were holding her mother's hands, and she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. So, 3 girls were there. 2 girl cousins and the poet's mother. And the biggest girl was the poet's mother. She was the elder one. And at the time, the poet was telling she was 12 years or so at the time. All 3 stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera, a sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born. The poem describes 3 stages of life in the passage of time. So let's go to the first stanza. See the first stanza, that is the first stage of life described by the poet in this poem. The cardboard shows me how it was when the 2 girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. The cardboard shows me how it was. That I already told you. It is an autobiographical account of the poet's emotions and feelings on seeing an old photograph of her mother. So the poem is in the form of a tribute to her mother. Here the cardboard shows me. Here the cardboard refers to the thick and stiff paper that keeps the photograph intact. On seeing the cardboard frame, the poet suddenly reminded of her mother. When the cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling. So in the old photograph, she could see her mother and her two girl cousins who went for a sea holiday. And two girl cousins went paddling. Here paddling refers to standing in shallow water in the sea. Each one holding one of my mother's hands. So the two girls were holding the hands of the poet's mother and they were enjoying their sea holiday. And she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. And among the three, poet's mother was the elder one. At the time, her mother was some 12 years old. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera, a sweet face. My mother's, that was before I was born. All three stood still. Here all the three refers to poet's mother and her two girl cousins. They stood still to smile through their hair. They were standing still and they were smiling. Through their hair, here refers to their hair was scattering. Since they were standing in the beach, their hair was scattered. At the uncle with the camera, they were standing there. They were standing still and they were smiling because their uncle was standing there with the camera. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born. So the photograph, now the poet has seen that was the same old photograph that was taken by their uncle years back when they went for a sea holiday. In that photo, the poet had seen the face of her poet's mother as very sweet. She was very sweet and she was very beautiful at the time. And at the time, that here refers to the time before the poet was born, when her mother was in her teens. And the sea, which appears to have changeless, washed their terribly transient feet. The photo that was captured years back, the three girls were standing at the seashore. They were standing in the shallow water of the sea. And in the photograph, what the poet is telling, see, no change has come over the sea during the passage of time. The sea appears now also the same. There is no change comes over the sea. But what the sea was, the sea which washed their terribly transient feet. Here transient refers to momentary existence or temporary existence. Humans are mortals, so we have a temporary existence in this universe. That is a universal truth that all the humans or all the mortals have only a temporary existence. Nothing in this world is permanent here. But here the sea, which appears to have changed less. But what happens to the poet mother? She has undergone physical changes during the passage of time. So this is the universal truth that the poet tries to reveal through the poem. That is the momentary existence of human beings compared to the, the existence of sea. The pretty faces and transient feet of the girls are temporary or having momentary existence when compared to the sea that have changed less. So this is an universal truth that the poet tries to explain through these lines. Here the poet compares the transitory or the momentary existence of mortals when compared with the permanent existence of nature and its objects. So today we have learned two stanzas of the poem A Photograph, written by Shirley Towson. Let's have a quick recap of what we have learned in the two stanzas. The poem is a tribute to the poet's mother. It is an autobiographical account of the poet's feelings and emotions on seeing an old photograph of her mother. It was taken years back when she went for a sea holiday along with her two girl cousins. And the three cousins, they went for a sea holiday. They were standing on the shallow water, and at the time their uncle captured one of their pictures. And that picture that was captured years back, now the poet has seen. The poet has kept the picture very carefully, and when she sees the picture, she thinks of the mother, and the poet becomes very nostalgic. And in the two stanzas here, even though the lines are very simple, the poem underpins a great philosophy also. Here the philosophy the poet tries to reveal through the two stanzas is the momentary or the temporary existence of human beings and the permanent existence of sea. That all mortals in this universe have temporary or momentary existence. That is the last two lines that we have learnt. The sea which have washed the terribly transient fate. That terribly refers to the momentary existence. So we have. So next one is the assignment for you. The first question: what does the word cardboard denote? Second question: how old was the poet's mother when the photo was taken? Third question: how does the poet compare the momentary existence of human beings with the unchangeable sea? So students, the continuation will be in the next session. Till then, bye.